listen to any stories about vertigo attacks, we ought to have a decent press conference for change.
How do you expect to handle matchups as far as a guy like Brandon Ingram, who can play wing or inside?
Yeah, it's a question we're still talking about as a staff. You know, the easy thing is to put Bryce on him, say you got to get out there and guard him, but he's got to guard you too, you know, on the low post. But we had discussions about it this morning in a staff meeting, and we'll probably have some more. And I'll get this, check the moon and the stars tonight and see how they line up and make a decision.
Seance.
You got to do one of those voodoo things. Yeah.
Roy, after the Notre Dame game, Marcus mentioned that part of the problem was when they spaced you out, some defensive breakdowns led to your guys getting into foul trouble. I assume there'll be similar things with Duke tomorrow night. What's the better way to defend that?
Well, they probably do it better than anybody else. I mean, I have no idea if this is true. This is just my opinion. But I would expect that their margin of making more free throws than the other team that shot is better than anybody else's in the country. So they put a great deal of pressure on you by driving the ball. And so you've got to make decisions. Okay, do I help all the way in off this guy because my guy that I'm guarding is not a great three-point shooter? Well, it's tough because most of their guys are pretty doggone good three-point shooters. So you got to do a little bit of both. You got to put a lot of pressure on the guy. That's every individual is guarding their man to do a good job themselves. So you don't need as much help. And hopefully if that one person can handle his guy a heck of a lot better than any other game we've played all year, that'll help us a great deal. But no, it's a big question for him.
Coach, Duke is a solid team, but not very deep. Have you assessed whether or not Duke has been able to handle a team as deep as yours?
I think so. You know, they had the stretch there for a couple of games. I guess they lost, but at Clemson, Notre Dame, Syracuse. There's a great chance all three of those teams are going to be in the NCAA too, so that they haven't lost to Slippery Rock or anybody like that. And again, the guy who used to coach Slippery Rock was a good friend of mine, so he told me I gave him good pub all the time. But those teams are pretty doggone good, and they weren't. I don't know that the Duke lack of depth hurt them as much that game as some other things, or how well the other team played. I hope that, because we're going to play, you know, 8, 9, or 10 guys, probably 8, 9, or 10 guys in the first half, because that's just what we do. And hopefully at the end of the game, it will have a little effect on them, or maybe get them in more foul trouble. But just playing more people doesn't get them in foul trouble. You got to attack the basket, so we got to do both. And hopefully we'll have a little more pep in our step by playing more people. But they're used to it now. I mean, I think what they've done by playing those 6 guys so many minutes, that they're used to it more so. They probably go lighter in practice than some other teams do, just because they want to save their legs for games. But I don't think he needs me to give any suggestions. He does pretty well on his own. We hope that it will get to be a problem that they get in foul trouble, because that means we're accomplishing one of our goals of getting the ball in the lane area. But I don't really think that it's bothered them in any of the games.
You talked last year about the rarity of, I think it was one of the few times in your career your teams did not shoot as many free throws as your opponents. Was there anything that you guys have done better this year to kind of get back to the line more often, independent of just everybody's going back to the line probably a little bit more with the way fouls are being called? Well,
we've tried to not have as many silly fouls. I think last year we probably did a poor job of fouling. It's just bad. We fouled way too much on silly fouls, just reaching in and touching somebody and not having any effect on the play than any team I've ever coached. So we've tried to do a better job of emphasizing that throughout the off season, playing in pickup games, guard people, don't just reach in and take a chicken way out and foul it. And I think that we've tried to do a better job of that in the game. We still had some games where we fouled way too much. There's no question, but we are doing a much better job of it ourselves.
What's the
and
one?
They attack you still, and that makes it even harder. I mean, Grayson Allen, again, and maybe he's on my radio show. He's got a unique blend of size and speed and jumping ability, and he plays so hard he just goes at you. And sometimes you're standing there defensively, and you know you're trying to back up, and you can't even back up fast enough. because he just does a great job of causing people to foul and drawing fouls.
About Allen, is there one thing that stands out about him above all? And have you played anybody this year that's remotely close to him?
Oh, boy. Rattan Mays, a little while, you know, he gets 30 when he plays us, but he doesn't have that strength to take all the contact that Grayson does. And Grayson jumps way up there too, so he handles contact from little guys and big guys because he's so strong. So I can't think of anybody that he reminds me of. No, and he just puts a tremendous amount of pressure on him.
When Justin Jackson is scoring effectively, I think he's like 70% last 2 games or something absurd like that. What does that do for your team as having that? And what kind of level can you take you guys when he's playing well?
Well, you've heard me say all along that you need more than one guy, more than 2 guys. If you get 3 guys who can really score and the other guys make open shots, you've really got it. But for us, it's been Bryce or Marcus. If you can add another perimeter player, either Joel or Justin, if you can add 2 of them, then you really do have something, because they can't load up. If they double team Bryce, you know, they got 3 guys guarding our 4. And so that, if Bryce is a good passer, makes good decisions, and that really helps us. So we've been needing somebody to step up, particularly when Marcus was going through his stretch where the ball wasn't going in the basket for him. And our best games last year are the games that Marcus scored, and we got good inside scoring, and Justin scored as well.
And how does he use? He and Brandon Ingram both have a ton of length, which is you can't coach that. But
Yeah.
can you coach a guy to use length?
Brandon's weight is much bigger. I mean, there's a difference.
Sure, but can you coach a guy to use length, or do you just
Oh, yeah.
let him? What do
No,
you kind of
'cause,
teach him to
you
do?
know, those guys can give more cushion on the guy they're guarding and keep him in front of you because you give him more space and still have the length to bother his shot. Brandon is much more effective around the backboards. I was just trying to see here. He's averaging 6.7 boards a game, and you know, our guys are averaging 3. And so it is something that his length is pretty impressive. His length is John Henson kind of length that really bothered people. It's Sam Perkins kind of length that really bothered people.
Brandon is a guy who spent a lot of time here during
Mhm.
his recruitment. If you could reflect on recruiting him a little bit. Were you confident that he was a guy that you were going to get there for a while? Or?
No, you know, I don't ever say that because that acts like it's sour grapes. We spent a ton of time on him. Loved him, loved everything about him, loved his game. Thought he was an unbelievable prospect, and we worked very hard for 3 years on him, but we didn't get him. But he's having a great freshman year, and well, he's having a great year. I don't care what class he is. Averaged 17 a game in the ACC, shooting over 47 from the floor, 40 from the line. He's blocked 38 shots. I mean, he's an all-star kind of player and a wonderful family. No, I don't know that I've ever worked a guy as long or as hard as we did Brandon, because we saw him as a sophomore and really started working him hard then.
That's what I was going to ask. Does that rank among the bad recruiting beats of your coaching career?
Well, it depends on what you call bad. If you call bad because you didn't get him, yes. But I still get notes from guys that I didn't get that seem to still like me and act like we're okay. And, you know, we're not nearly as okay as we would be if they'd come play for us, there's no question. But all that, I've never gotten on a kid for choosing somewhere else. And, you know, we had some problems. I mean, everybody knows it, so no sense rehashing all that stuff. He made a great decision, and he's playing his tail off.
I was going to ask, without that stuff, do you feel like
You know, you're asking, you're trying to put me in a corner I'm not going to go, okay? He's a great youngster. He's a great player. We had some problems. Duke did a great job. He's playing for Duke. I'm not going there.
Joel's only played 3 minutes in each of the last 2 games. Has he having lingering issues with the Achilles or anything else? Or
Oh, gosh. 2 games ago, I think I did take him out because he was just hurting. Or maybe it was the last game. One of the games he was just hurting. In one game it didn't fit him. I can't remember which one is which.
so it's not anything like a shortening of the rotation or anything
No,
serious?
No. I put him in both games, and one game I tried him, and I thought his effect on the game was not going to be what I wanted it to be. And in the other game I tried him, and he was really hurting.
Was it the Achilles that was hurting him?
Yeah.
BC would get
I can't remember. One is the
Yeah,
last 2.
BC.
You said the last 2
Yeah,
games.
BC and Pitt were
Yeah.
both 3
Okay,
minutes.
so one of them was one thing, and one of them was the other.
Okay.
One of them was my choice, and one of them was his Achilles' choice.
Coach, are you trying to use Isaiah the way you use Marvin Williams? And is he the closest you've had to a Marvin Williams?
In some way, because we're using him to give us a lift coming off the bench, but they're really different players, because Marvin could play the 3 and the 4, and we've, I don't think I've played Isaiah a single moment at the 3 this year. We tried to give him some time at the 3 either last year or year before last, but I think this year I played him exclusively as a post player. But he is like Marvin, that he gives you something positive when he comes right in. But Marvin, I don't think Isaiah's shot a 3-point shot. Yeah, and Marvin shot a bunch of them because he made a bunch of them.
So Isaiah will be lacking those guard skills. that
Yeah,
Marvin
he's
has.
more of an inside player. You know, he's from 10 to 15 feet, he's an effective driver. And we just got to get him to limit the number of bounces, because in this league, if you bounce one extra bounces, people are going to be back there in your lap taking it away from him. But he's effective at getting the ball closer to the basket, probably more effective taking the ball to the basket than Kennedy or Bryce, either one.
Going back to the Pitt game, the 19-1 on the offensive glass, when you watched the film, how much of that was just kind of quirky? How much of it is a concern? And have you ever won a game where you were?
I don't think I've ever even seen a game when it was 19-1, much less played, coached, or watched. It was a combination of 3 things, I think. One, Pitt is really aggressive going after the rebound, and the shots weren't going in, so there was a little extra incentive. If we want to score, we better go get the ball. Second thing is there were some weird bounces for a couple of them, and then the third one, the one that concerns me the most, is we didn't do a very good job of boxing them out and didn't do a very good job of getting to our own offensive board. The 19 bothers me, but the 1 bothers me even more. You know, you're going to make, if you shoot 60% like we did, you're not going to have that many opportunities, but it still left 20 shots or whatever it was misses, and we only got 1 of them. So that concerned me more. And then on the other end, when we didn't do a good job of boxing them out, so it causes more concern for you.
Is there a challenge at all trying to rebound against a team that takes a bunch of threes and with a lot of long rebounds? Do you have
But
to
long
change
shots,
anything?
long rebounds, but you know, when kids first start playing it is, but I mean, we've played 25 games this year, so when teams shoot a lot of threes against us. 3 best rebounds in the game the other day were by 3 of our guards. Joel got 1, Nate got 1, Marcus got 1. You know, I'd like to see Bryce and Kennedy and Isaiah and Joel and Luke get those kind of rebounds, because you got to have 5 guys got to get to the board, but 5 guys have to make contact. I've shown them so many times when a shot's taken and there's a guy standing outside the 3-point line. A few times it's our own guy that gets the rebound, but so many times it's some of the other guys on the other team that gets the rebound, so you can't just say my guy's out there. And then we've always had, and this is something that's my fault not doing a good job of it, most teams, when they take a shot, their point guard gets back because they're worried about defensive balance because of our breaks. So our point guard, a lot of times, doesn't have somebody to box out. And in the past, we've given a great deal of credit when a point guard found somebody else to box out. And I haven't done a very good job of coaching and getting that to be a real point of emphasis for them yet, but we're still trying.
Roy, when Duke wins a national championship and is coming off a national title, does that energize you in any way? Does it motivate you in a weird way, or what does that do mentally at all, if anything?
I guess it makes you jealous. You know, I mean, let's be honest, but I don't think so. I mean, there's only one person that drives me, and it's me. And I wasn't watching tape last night at 11:56 because Duke won a national championship last year. And I was watching tape after midnight before we played at Boston College, and that was even before I got dizzy. So no, it's you like the idea of the challenge, you like the competition. I'm very flattered to be part of, I think, the greatest rivalry in college sports. But no, I told you, it's no big thing. Nobody's got more respect for Mike Krzyzewski than I do. But I think I told you in 2010, they went in 2010.
Yeah, it was year before.
I told you, it's no knock against Duke. I watched Dancing with the Stars. Why should I watch that game? My daughter wanted to watch Dancing with the Stars. I like my daughter more than I do cheering for Duke. But, you know, I mean, it's no big deal, but there's nobody in the college basketball that's got more respect for Mike Krzyzewski and what he's done than I do. But they've drive you, they being your opponents. Syracuse, I've tried my darndest to play coach better in his own because of what Syracuse does. You know, they press more full court, and I want us to do more of that, and that drives me to look it over more during the summer. But Duke, you know, they set a pretty high standard. Sometimes we've been able to match up to that standard, sometimes not. But you know, Wisconsin, let's see, right? No, this year.
Oh, this year, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, you know, I watched part of the game, you know, and did something I liked doing. So.
Roy, 25 games in, is your team about where you thought it would be, or
You know, it's crazy. You've heard me say this before, that I never look at a record and try to decide where we'd be record-wise, but we're not where I wanted us to be with some of the things we're doing. You know, I really thought that we would be much better defensively than we are right now. And yet against Maryland and against Pittsburgh, we had some really good defensive grades, and our defense drove us to get the ball up and down the court and helped us on fast break points. So I'm disappointed in that, and our team rebounding wise has been really strange, because you take away 4 games and we're probably the best rebounding team in the country, rebound margin, but those 4 games have hurt us drastically. So it's a veteran team, but I keep thinking that we're going to get it. We're going to get it a little bit better, but you never know with kids. You guys have heard me say in 2009 I kept pushing and pushing and pushing because we weren't very good defensively. But Wayne and Ty and Danny and all those guys, the coach, were going to outscore them. You know, that, they didn't tell me that. They weren't quite that cocky, but I knew that's what they were thinking. And then all of a sudden, before the tournament, I made one statement, and it was something. All of a sudden, they opened their eyes. I said, "I've never seen a team win a national championship that wasn't good defensively." And all of a sudden, my gosh, they're guarding like crazy. And Steve can correct me. You should look this up because I use it a lot. But I think in the 6 games in the tournament that year, we held 3 of them below 30% for at least a half. And those are against 6 tournament teams. So they got it. And, you know, I keep bringing that up to these guys, trying to get them to say, you know, let's go ahead and do it now. You know, I got too many gray hairs. Let's not wait any longer.
Marshall Poland's probably one of the more pure centers in the league right now. What kind of poses does he, what kind of threats does he pose to y'all in terms of his height and just kind of just a pure down-low guy?
Well, what he is a good, really good rebounder, shot blocker, defensive player of always being where they want him to be. He's very active. He's got a high motor. He plays. They don't run a lot of offense for him, and he's okay with that. But they do a great job of penetrating. His guy helps, and then he does a great job of dunking the ball. In one of their games, it may have been a game they lost. Maybe in the Syracuse game, down the stretch, he made 2 or 3 post moves that were really big-time moves, but they don't look for him to do that, which is fine with him. And like I say, their coach knows what the heck he's doing. But no, he's a complete player back there who's worked extremely hard for 4 years. And we tried to recruit him. I loved him as a kid and thought his potential was really something. And the first 3 years, he got a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better. And then this year, from junior year to senior year, I think he's taken a giant leap, and it's been real effective for him.
You gonna miss seeing Plumlee's out there?
Pardon?
Are you gonna miss seeing Plumlee's on the court?
No. No, I like all 3 of them. And I really like their high school coach. And where they went to high school was 5 miles from where I went to high school. And we didn't do a good job recruiting.
Going back just a second.
Pardon?
You said you keep thinking they're gonna get it.
Mhm.
The Pitt game, aside from the offensive rebounds, do you feel like this is the closest they've been to getting it all season?
Maryland in this game. You know, and in this game, we were really good defensively, but you can't forget that finishing the defense. You can't forget the box out stuff, because that's, to me, is one of the most important, if not the most important. But basketball is a crazy game. I mean, come on, if you had told me at Notre Dame, and Steve can help me, if you had told me we were going to shoot 50% from 3, and they were going to shoot 3 of 18 from 3, and we were going to out-rebound everybody in here, not that you should bet, and you'd be dumb to bet on a college basketball game, but everybody in here would bet any amount of money on a bet that we win, and we lost. Man, if you had said that Pitt was going to get 19 offensive rebounds and we were going to get 1, everybody in here would bet that we were going to lose, and we won. So you can't put it just on one thing, but it's hard to get away from the fact that we did such a poor job on the backboards we hit.
Take one more if there is. All right,
Yeah,
good.
thanks, guys.
Well, the player interview is gonna be out.